So welcome you all to the NetMinion Solutions. And
Thank
today
you,
we
sir.
would be starting for LTM classes. Yes, Rakesh, you are saying something?
No, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. So maybe you can keep on mute till you have any doubt. Okay. If you would be having any doubt, maybe you can unmute yourself and you can ask. So let me start meanwhile. Okay. So first, welcome. So welcome I have already done. So welcome you all. Now, those who are not aware about F5, let me tell you a quick overview that F5 is the company name. And when we are talking about LTM, when we are talking about GTM, when we are talking about ASM and any other, okay? So those things are the product of F5 company. So you can see there are different product names. One of them is known as Big IP product suite. Okay, the very first, if you see, the very first is the Big IP product suite, and this is where LTM falls in. We will be checking out later on, but these are something known as application delivery services. We will be talking about that later on, but let me just quickly, take you the overview for this particular product family. So when I am talking about Big IP product suites, you can see we have different products available. Okay, like you can see there is LTM on which we will be focusing today. If I will say LTM is the base, okay, on the top of LTM, if you are learning GTM, you can go for the GTM. If you wanted to learn APM, maybe you can directly go for the APM, not GTM required to learn the APM. Maybe if you wanted to go for the ASM, again, not GTM or APM is required for going for the ASM. If you are aware about the LTM, that is local traffic manager, you can go to any of the product family, okay, and you can learn any of the other product family. But mainly, if I will say in the market, if you will ask me what is the trend? Hey Zakaria, thanks for joining in. What about Mr. Mohammed?
He's about to join now.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
perfect. So what I was talking with you guys is that LTM is the base, okay, on the top of what you can put any of other technology for your information or maybe for your knowledge to get the jobs in the market. On the boom, LTM is on the boom, GTM is on the boom, APM is on the boom, ASM is on the boom. You can see the AFM also, which is, in the boom when we talk about in the market trend, okay. These are the very hot products, you can say, for your Big IP product suites. Now, let me give you an overview quickly, like very high by overview, okay, so that you people would be able to understand what is the significance of these, product suites. So when I am talking about LTM, okay, full form, everybody of we should be aware of local traffic manager. It means within a data center, when we wanted to do lot of things, I would not be able to see that, okay, it is not only load balancer, first of all. If you see, if you will talk about F5, F5 will never say that it is load balancer. People talk that this is known as ADC, application delivery controller. Okay. So why it is not load balancer, what the legacy load balancer was doing earlier and how it is, changed from the legacy load balancer, that we need to check out into our today's demo also. And throughout our course, I would be teaching you what all of these, like these functionality of LTM are that you can use into your environment. Okay. So legacy load balancers were the dump devices. Those were if packet is coming, okay, and there are maybe and devices. There are two servers, two server. This is our LB, and if packet is coming, in the round robin fashion, maybe 1, 3, 5, 2, 4 bit kind of like they are doing the load balancing simple. Okay. If this device is down, then what happened? These load balancers were not intelligent enough to check out that either my end device is up or no. Maybe it's not down completely. Maybe it's full. Okay. The capacity, whatever this server is able to, handle the traffic of, or whatever the capacity it has, that is breached. It is not able to handle more traffic, but your dump load balancer is still, sending the traffic over here on this link. So that is the load balancing. It's not doing only the load balancing, but it has a lot of other intelligence. What kind of intelligence we will be talking about later on this topic. But this is your LTM within a data center. When we will talk about the GTM will come into the picture. Currently, it is known as DNS. Okay, the GTM was the former name for your F5. So DNS is the intelligent DNS over here. It means when your GTM is coming into the picture, if there are two data center 1, data center 2, and we need to send the traffic according to the availability of the maybe servers or the end devices. As per that, if we need to send out the traffic for our DNS records, either it is a record, either it is, the host behind the big IP or no. Again, some separate topic, we will not jump to that, but GTM will come into the picture during when there are global data center. Maybe you can say it would be your when there are two data center or more than two data center, the GTM will come into the picture. If I will talk about the ASM, again a very robust, you can say the product of big IP unit. If you are placing the ASM, okay, in between your servers, okay, in between your servers, or maybe you can say in between your application and in between your end user, ASM is enough capable of handling your layer 7 attacks. I don't know if you guys are from the security or no, but those who are from the security, you must have heard about the term OWASP top 10 attacks, right? ASM is inbuilt with some attack signatures that it will mitigate those kind of security vulnerabilities with the attack signatures. There are two of my students already in this class who have attended the ASM classes from NetMinion Solution, Zakaria and Mr. Muhammad. I hope they people are aware what I am talking about ASM and how the ASM is capable of. But today we will be, talking about more and more about LTM, which is the base product of your big IP product suite. Okay, we will be checking how big IP LTM is different from other devices, whatever may be the routers, whatever may be the switches, maybe your firewalls or whatever other devices you have worked upon so far, how it is different from them and why it is important and how it is differentiating itself from, legacy load balancer to the intelligent load balancer, or what we known as ADC. Okay. So it is not load balancer, by the way, it would be ADC. So here you see, we have a picture of a local traffic manager, that is your LTM. Okay. And you can see that, okay, when traffic is coming, it is hitting to my local traffic manager or my big IP device. Okay. And there are 4 servers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So traffic is distributed as such that it should be distributed among all of the servers. That is, very basic, you can say, functionality of your LTM device as your older load balancer were doing. Okay. But on the top of that, so I can say this is capable of load balancing. Load balancing, it is capable of. Not only the static load balancing. Static means, okay, either it is maybe, round robin, that, okay, equally it is sending the traffic to each and every server. Maybe it can be on the basis of ratio that these servers are having the high capability server. These are the old servers not capable enough to handle much traffic. And I just initiated a ratio of 1 and 2 so that one packet come over here, and on these servers two packets are coming, bit like that. So not only the static load balancing, but when I am talking about load balancing, it means not only static, but I can allocate the dynamic load balancing also. And the dynamic load balancing is an intelligent feature. It will check my end server that, okay, what is the capability of my end server? Either he is capable enough to handle such kind of huge traffic flow or no. If that particular server is able to, handle those traffic flow, my LTM box will be allocating more packet to that, which is capable enough, and which is the old server, it will not be sending much traffic to that, because end goal is not sending the traffic. End goal is the availability. Application should not be, suffer. So end user should not be suffer. My application should be always up. And for that, these kind of dynamic load balancing will come into the picture. One, I will say this is the one of the smallest, I would say, usage of your LTM. What more? Let me tell you maybe on the over here. Okay. Secondly, your maybe let me just first give you the overview of full proxy. Maybe you guys are not aware about the proxy now. Let me tell you about the proxy, then I will come to this particular, slide again. Okay, let me just proceed. The GTM we talked about, ASM we talked about, that is ASM will mitigate your layer 7. That's all right. Maybe let me just, okay. I wanted to talk about this slide first, then we will be coming back to those slides. So on the very left side, you can say that in the left side, these are your users, your user zone. This is your server zone, okay? And if there is some device, maybe some router, maybe some switch, there should be some kind of routing, netting, all of the things, maybe as given you are running, maybe some sort of, MPLS connectivity or some DMVPN, whatever connectivity you have, okay? Whenever your traffic will arrive over here, this traffic from this particular, device will be routed to the application server. We all are aware about such kind of thing. So when your traffic would be sent from clients to the server on the basis of your routing table, or maybe you can say on the basis of your fib table, okay, or the rib table, whatever table you say, it means this device is not intercepting the traffic. And such kind of devices means they are known as packet based. Okay. So when I am talking about packet based design, it means howsoever my packets are coming, it will be forwarded to my end device. So this is my source and this is my destination directly. Okay. My source and my destination. In between, it might be that I have couple of the routers, couple of the switches, but they are not intercepting the traffic at all. They are not interrupting anything. They are just forwarding it. Okay. These are, you can say, middle of the stream of the communication, but not the end point of the communication. These are only passes the packets through from them that, okay, if packet is coming from the client, need to go to the server, it will only check that, okay, do I have the routing information or no? If I have the routing information, then I need to send it to the next hop, then next hop, then next hop. But the end point, but the destination is your application server. So that is your first thing. Let me maybe, delete this and show you through this particular slide that you can see we have a router which is packet based device. In between the client and in between the server, it is there, but it is working as a bridge. It is not intercepting the traffic. So request will go directly to the application server. the application server will send the response directly to the clients. The in-between device is not intercepting anything. That is your packet-based design. Okay. What if we have something proxy? Okay. When we have proxy, or maybe let me just give over here the overview of the proxy. So when we are talking about proxy, and when we are saying that one of the device is acting as the proxy, it can be any device, okay, any software, any device, any hardware, whatever you have. When you have the proxy in between, let us say this is my device, which is acting as proxy. Again, proxy can be of two types: forwarding proxy and reverse proxy. We will be talking about that later on, but let me talk about with respect to big IP unit. It is full proxy. What does full proxy means? It means when my client would be sending out the request, even though it is destined for ultimately it will go to your application server, but the endpoint what would be your proxy device. If it is your big IP, then this would be your endpoint. But obvious, there are some configuration required for the same. Okay, it cannot be go in a regular fashion. But yes, instead of sending the traffic directly to the application server, now the traffic will be lying down on my proxy, and my proxy will initiate the traffic on the behalf of the client and will send this traffic to the application server. So you can see earlier the request was going from my source to my destination, but this is my source now, destination would be this, and in the second phase, the source would be my proxy devices, destination would be my application server. So you can say it divided the packet into two different packets. The request first lying down on the proxy, then it is going to the application server, and same thing going for my response also. In case of response, application server will be my source, destination would be my proxy, and then my proxy will be sending the response on the behalf of the application server. It would be acting as the source, it would be acting as the destination server. So if you see here, the client will not be able to diagnose who is the end device actually, or eventually who is responding to the my request. For client, this is the device which is responding, because if you see the packet, okay, in the packet, if you see the source IP and the destination IP of the proxy, and in return the source IP would be of again the proxy. So if packet is not out of the order, your client will accept it that, okay, it is perfectly fine. Whatever packet I initiated, the same device is responding to me. It means everything is okay. There is no, there is nothing to worry about this packet. Okay, so it will accept that packet. But eventually, if you will see, it's not proxy who is fulfilling the request. In the last, proxy is initiating the traffic on the behalf of user and sending it to the application server. So that is how your big IP will be coming into the picture. And when your big IP is coming into the picture, it will be acting as a full proxy. Now, there are some questions, there should be some questions in everybody's mind who are very much new about the F5 technology. And those questions should be, why? Why the full proxy design we should be opted for? Why we are stopping the packet in between? Why the packet should not go from the client to the destination in one go? Why we are putting big IP as the full proxy in between? For your curiosity, let us move to the next slide and let me show you in the pictorial way that why and how this full proxy design helps the big IP system to maintain a lot of other functionalities rather than only load balancing. Okay, so I hope you guys are connecting these dots. Okay, so earlier I told you that big IP is not only the load balancer, it would be doing a lot of other things. What other things we will be talking about? But let us see first whatever I talked with you guys in the pictorial way. Okay, so you can see Now the first handshake is between your client and big IP, because your big IP is full proxy. It is acting as a full proxy. And the second session, which is maintained, is between your big IP and the application server. So I hope this pictorial way is very much clear to you. If you have any doubt, maybe you can ask. If there is any question, be interactive, please. Okay. If there are any questions, you can ask. No? Let me then go ahead. I'm treating your silence as no. Now, let me just see if we have something. Okay, you can see the same thing, whatever I described you earlier, that request is going to the big IP, then big IP is initiating the request to the application server. And in the response stuff also, the same thing, big IP is coming into the picture. So this part, the very first part, if you will see about, this is known as forward proxy. Okay, it is acting as forward proxy. This part, when it is stopping the packet in between, in the case of your response, is known as reverse proxy. Okay, we will be talking about those terms later on also. And when the device is acting as the forward proxy and reverse proxy both, it is known as full proxy. Okay, so let us talk about the usage. What are the usage when my connection is proxied? Okay, why we are going for such a case that, okay, if my proxy is there, then what happened to my traffic, what happened to my packet, and how it would be useful. So you can see the TCP handshake is gonna done over here. I hope everyone of you should be aware about the TCP handshake. Let me talk. If there is a source, there is a destination. TCP handshake, first it will be sending the second, the third packet. It would be TCP SYN, SYN-ACK, and ACK. Okay, and ACK, bit like that. So this is your TCP handshake. This would be done between your source, and this would be done in between your destination. But how many handshake will be happen now? When my F5 is coming into the picture, you can see there are two handshakes which are gonna happen, not only one. And why so? Because the sessions are also two. One session is between the client and the big IP unit, you can see over here. Okay, and the second session between the big IP and the server. Okay, so you can see there are two TCP handshake, one between the client and big IP, second between big IP and the server, respectively. Now, when such kind of things are happening, what kind of use, what kind of benefit we are having, what we are attained through it, let us check one by one. So very first thing, when such kind of stuff happened, your big IP unit or your F5 unit is capable enough to view the traffic, and if required, to modify the traffic. If it would not be the case, your big IP unit cannot learn any traffic, cannot read about any traffic. But in this scenario, since it is the endpoint, since it is the destination for the traffic, it can learn about that traffic, and later on it can be modified those traffic also. Let us see what happened now. Since it is an endpoint, there can be a possibility that your users are using IPv6, but your server is still on IPv4. So what can be the benefit? The benefit over here is that when the users are sending the traffic over the IPv6, my VIP, or you can say one of my configuration can be created with the respect of IPv6 only, so that when traffic is coming, this traffic, the session one in between the user and the big IP, it can be IPv6. But later on, when my big IP is generating this traffic till the server, since my servers are not capable enough to handle the IPv6 traffic, we can generate the IPv4 traffic. Okay, very simple use case. And it can be vice versa, that my client is using IPv4, but my server is using IPv6. Same thing. Okay, we are able to achieve that task also. That is doable. So this stuff is possible when our F5 is acting as the endpoint in between. What could be the second stuff? Second stuff, when we see over here, we can use some of the profiles. What are the profiles? Maybe it is bit early to talk about them, but you can say over the internet, we all are aware the data when we are sending, if it is in the compressed way, okay, the speed can be fast and we can send a lot of more data within the same time. So if we need to use compression, we can use compression over my F5 box. So in between your users and in between your F5, you can use a compressed data. More data is coming over there within the same bandwidth, whatever the link you have. But later on, I don't want my server to be bothered to do the uncompression or the compression. Why to use the server resources? So my F5 will make it uncompressed on the server behalf, and when it is sending the data to the server, it is in the uncompressed way. So my server resources are now voided. They are not in the usage, and my server can handle a lot of other application traffic. This is your F5 which is doing such kind of job. Again, it is possible because we are using the full proxy design. Let us go ahead. Very important, very important. You guys are aware that when you are using anything over the internet, you cannot use in the plain text because man in middle attack can happen. So whenever you are sending a traffic from the through the internet, maybe onto your server, okay, there should be something known as HTTPS. This S stand for security, okay, that it is secure. And you guys are aware when we are using HTTPS, it means server is having the private key plus cert. The client is having public key plus cert. So when data is sent, maybe the data is sent, maybe let like netminion. This is the plain text. If someone is reading about, they can alter this netminion with some other stuff. Okay, just a simple example. But when you are sending this netminion in the encrypted way, maybe whatever the encryption algorithm you are using, okay, whatever, and you are sending this, this is sent by a cert and a public key. Man in middle attack happens. Those people don't have the private key to decrypt it. They will fail to see this data. They will fail to modify this data. And in the end, server is having this private key and able to check out this, that, okay, this is the key. And if I will, decrypt it, it will be turned into the netminion. So this is the one form of security. Very important. Everyone is using these kind of security nowadays. You guys are aware. Okay, let me show you maybe if you have noticed or no. Some of you if not noticed, let me show you. Maybe let me open the netminion.net only, or maybe Google also. Google. Okay, whatever website. Can you see this lock? This lock means what? You have the certificate. If you will click on this certificate, you can see issued to whom, issued by whom, valid from when to when. Bit like another websites, you can see there is a lock, there is a valid certificate, issued to whom, issued by whom, valid from when to when. Issuer statement you want to check, you can just click on this and you would be able to see those kind of details you wanted to see, what kind of hashing algorithm it is using, what is the public key. Okay, you can see this is the public key something. So all of this stuff is there inside into your this request. If I will click on home, you can see there is S in between your HTTP and HTTP request. So it means it is a secured way. Same way, if I will click on the home over here, you can see it is the secured. But if some of the site which is not secured, if I am opening that, it means it is not sending the encryption way. I hope you guys are able to understand what I wanted to say, that how encryption is important. By now, I was, yes, Rizwan, you was wanted to say something? I am not able to hear you if you are speaking something. Okay,
Yes, I said understood what you explained here.
go ahead, go ahead.
I said, I'm audible? Hello?
Yes, you are audible now.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah, it's understood what you explained now. That was I was saying. Yeah,
Okay,
no
so
issues. Yeah.
no doubt. Okay, okay. So what I was about to tell, that this kind of stuff is very important. But if you see over here, all of the encryption or all of the decryption is done by whom? Done by server. See how much resource consumption is there. I am talking about one request, but it is not only one request. When there is a public facing, website, maybe Facebook, maybe Google, maybe Amazon, or whatever website you talk about, there are millions of requests which will be, running in within a second, or maybe such a short period of spam period of time. The server resources should not be get used for these kind of encryption and decryption. Instead, your F5 is capable enough to do such kind of encryption and decryption on the basis of your server. Oh, sorry, on the behalf of your server. What does that mean? When client is sending the traffic, it would be HTTPS. It will decrypt, but obvious it has the private key. Okay, if you will ask how, then yes, we have the private key. How to import that, what kind of configuration is required, again, too early to talk about those kind of things, because we will be talking about those terms but later on. But if you see, it will decrypt it, and when it will be sending the traffic to the server, it would be plain HTTP, and your server resources are exempted for using those encryption and decryptions. Now the question can be, is this not the security threat, or maybe any other questions you might have, in your mind. So it depends upon scenario to scenario, from organization to organization, what kind of protocol you wanted to have. In case, if you don't want to use this, you can use that kind of stuff also, that it will be encrypted again, maybe with some weaker ciphers, so that again your server can be relieved a little bit. Okay, so those kind of things are very much possible. We will be talking about these terms in a very, very great detail when we will be touching out that particular topic, not now. But I just wanted to tell you that, okay, why this full proxy design is important. Let us come to the next point. Yes. So here you see the data which is coming to us is the layer 7 data. Okay. If we can have the layer 7 data also. By default, it is layer 7 data. But let me tell you, your F5 can work as the plain router also. Plain routing also it can done. Although that is not a good advice to use such a expensive device to use as the router. But yes, it is capable enough. If there is something that, okay, we need to only achieve the load balancing, nothing else, then yes, it can work in that manner also. That is an interview question as well. But later on, we will be talking about when virtual server types. I would be explaining you on that part. But currently, if I will see that one is sending the layer 7 data, and that layer 7 data can be modified, okay, in a very, okay, someone joined. Sorry, who joined? It's all. So that data can be modified in a very great extent. We will be checking out later on when we are using this full proxy design. So let me go back to the same slide where I was talking about the same. Yeah, I was talking about this. So now you guys are able to catch that, okay, when I am using LTM, okay, when I am using LTM, the very first thing what I am achieving is the load balancing. load balancing. And I told you load balancing can be in the two way. It can be static, it can be dynamic. Then second part, if I will talk about, it can offload the server work. I showed you before some time how, by using the SSL termination. Maybe by using the compression and decompression over the F5. Maybe we can say by using the TCP multiplexing. What this term is, we will be talking about later on, don't worry. Third thing, there is one feature named as One Connect. One Connect. What does that feature is? Let me tell you, okay? Very, very important feature, very valuable feature. If you are using into your, environment, you can able to find out the relevance for that. Now, let me tell you, when your data is coming, I told you, when the traffic is coming onto your big IP, maybe I am just writing down F5, and this is your server. I told you guys that the TCP handshake will be done in between them, and the TCP handshake will be done in between them. That is one request I am talking. What if there are multiple requests are coming? See how much TCP handshake we are doing. It is useless. It is not a good way for a single server or maybe for two server to use such a heavy, TCP handshake is not a, very much okay. What we can do is we can use One Connect profile, which tells that, okay, I have a TCP connection already. Use that TCP connection, which is the existing connection. Again, there is timeout. Again, there are some conditions. There are, some exceptions. We will be talking about those starts later on. But yes, again, a very good feature, One Connect, that, okay, no need to do for the TCP handshake again and again from F5 to the server if the data is already maintained. If the handshake is already done, why not to use those, those established connections only. Okay. Now, I was talking about the usage. I talked about the 3 usage. Let us talk about some more, maybe very, very, generic I am talking about, not limited to that, but just I am talking about very generic. The fourth one, health monitor. What is a health monitor? Health monitor means that it will check the health of my server, the backend server. If my server is not up, or maybe if my server is not capable enough, it will not gonna send that traffic to that particular server. Maybe other of the servers will get in used, but not this server. If it is not up, maybe if it is not capable enough to handle that kind of traffic, it will just stop. So health monitor, very, very good, feature. Then fifth, we have something known as iRules. iRules, guys, again, would be very quick if I would be, explaining about iRules. But for now, you guys just try to understand. This is the scripting language known as TCL, okay, tool command line language, where we can modify the, okay, why it is required, maybe let me tell you over here. So let us say the traffic is coming from my user. This is my F5. Again, when I am saying F5, you just understand it is big IP LTM unit when I am telling F5 over here. This is my F5, this is my server, this is my PC or the users. So there are a couple of, features available on this F5 unit. Let us say you have some kind of requirement that, okay, if my traffic is coming from the 10 IP range, it should be go to the server 1. If my IP is coming from the 20 IP range, it should be moving to the server 2. Such kind of requirement, your big IP will fail to, fulfill by default or whatever the by default feature you have. What you can use? You can use the scripting language, TCL scripting language, as I was telling you, TCL based iRules. And these iRules will be having extensive usage in your environment. You can do a lot of things on the basis of iRule. And when I would be learning, I would be giving you overview about the iRule. I will not tell you about the iRule. I will be talking about something known as LTP, because major of the people, are not good enough to write down the iRule, complex iRules. So LTP is something that is GUI based, which cannot replace the iRule. I will not say that. That would be a something more, but I could say that yes, you can avoid the iRule for simple request, and you can fulfill those requests using the LTP, which is GUI kind of stuff. That okay, if this stuff happened, what to do if such condition, if else statements. You people are aware, so those are your thing. We will be learning them through the practical. Don't worry, through the practical. Everything will be covered through the practical only. So the mode of the training would be the theoretical, practical, and I would be giving the lab to you guys. Okay, let me just give you the overview about the lab, because I am talking about it. This would be your lab. Okay, there are 3 servers. Server farms is there. This is your management PC, from where we will be taking the management of our device. There are 2 devices, the application delivery controllers. You can see nothing but the F5 big IP units, primary LTM, secondary LTM, because when we will be going to the high availability practical, we need to have 2 devices at least. So we will be making the second device up during that time. But it would be fun when we will be starting from the zero. From the zero, you will be learning till the concept that you can be able to understand how these things are working into your environment. Secondly, if you want to crack the interview, you can go for crack the interview. Third, with respect to the certification, you would be having a great knowledge. Okay, so that we will talk about later on. So far, any question, anything, any doubt, ask me. House is open for the question for some time. Otherwise, I would be, proceeding up.
Hello.
Yes, Mohammed, please.
I have a question. What's the difference between actually in the LTM I have iRules, and there is something what you call policies. You can apply policies like the iRules. So what's the difference between iRules and policies?
So as I was,
If condition there, for example, in the policies down and the resources down, you can add policies if it has if conditions. If the server failed, you can proceed to the second server like that. It's like the iRules or what?
yes, Mohammed, you are right. It's bit like the iRule, but if you remember, I showed you a simple policy in the ASM class. Remember?
Yeah, that was iRule.
No, that was LTP, the local
Okay.
traffic policy, right? The same
LTP.
policy I am talking about over here. So using those LTPs, you can achieve a couple of the tasks. Okay. So what I would say, it is not
contained in
complete.
the F5. This also it's in the F5. I can find the LTP in the F5.
Yes, it can be used in F5 LTM also.
Okay.
Don't worry, I will be giving an overview and giving some examples for the LTP also, when our when we will be running out on those topics. Don't worry.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Rizwan.
Yeah, when we have iRule, so what is the need of LTP when it's doing the same thing? Like iRule and LTP both are doing the same thing. So what is the purpose?
For now, you can just understand when we need to, write down the iRule, we have couple of the syntax we need to follow. It is bit like the TCL language, as I told you, and some kind of scripting you need to run. Some people are not very good for the scripting. They don't like it. In that way, the little bit task can be achieved by the LTP. In the LTP, you have these statements that, okay, if request is coming, you need to choose, you choose that. What if it is equal to some kind of IP, you need to mention that. What need to be done? Again, it is the selection. It is bit kind of, you can say, GUI based. So people used to feel that, okay, it is simpler than the iRules, and that is the reason they opt for the LTP rather than the iRules.
Okay.
Okay, maybe the people who are very new over here, for your information, okay, let me tell you, those are my students. The people are aware, but those who are new, for your information, let me tell you, if you will just search out the NetMinion solutions, okay, over the YouTube, and there is under the playlist of maybe LTM, where is that? F5 LTM, here is the LTM, okay, and here you must see this particular video, huh? Bye iRule, kind of. So that is, you know, just much, but maybe you can just, I am just copying it, giving you over this particular, you know, chat. So you can go through this video where I am explaining about the same, the difference between the iRule and between the LTP. But yes, we would be covering that later on into our classes also, don't worry. But just for your curiosity, I just sent that. Okay. Any other question, or should I proceed further?
The different type of health monitoring. Can you can you discuss a little bit of it, sir, please?
Again, very early to, you know, talk about the different type of health monitors. Yes, there are different types, including your scripting, including your HTTP, including your TCP, including your dumping kind of stuff. We have a lot of types, but yes, we need to do it later on into our classes. Okay. I was just giving overview that there is something known as health monitor, but health monitor is again a complete of 1 hour of the topic minimum, maybe 1.5 hours. Okay, so it will consume a very great time. Don't worry, we will be coming to that. Okay, Zakaria.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else has any questions so far? Somebody is raising the hand. Arun. Yes, Arun, please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, hi, Arun. Hi. Go ahead.
Actually, I want to the F5 LTM F5 product for the link load balancing that you need to have a separate license for every module. I think if I want to manage my ISP links through F5 LTM, if I have more than 2 links or something like that.
Well, I am not able to grab your question. Maybe can you?
My question is simple. I want to use F5 LTM as a for managing my 2 ISP links.
Okay.
So for this, I would require some license part from the LTM.
So wait for a while. Wait for a while.
Yes.
So this is your F5 LTM.
Yes.
These are 2 ISP links, ISP1, ISP2.
Yes.
Maybe requests are coming over here. You wanted to load balancer over load balancer, done the load balancing over here and over here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now license for what?
If I want to implement load balancing for these 2 links, it would require a license.
Okay. For licensing, just wait for maybe 10 to 15 minutes more. I would be showing you licensing in today's class only. Don't worry. Okay. But for your curiosity, we don't require different license. We need to have the license for the modules specifically, either for the LTM, either for the GTM, either for the ASM, whatever module you want to learn. If this device is capable enough to handle that, okay, the hardware, then you don't require the license for different links. But for the specific modules, yes, you need to have the license.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, if no question, maybe let me proceed it up with the more slides. Now, those who wanted to know about the certification, let me give a very quick overview about the certification. The very first certification which you need to run or which you need to give is 101. Not much about the FI, but the basic, networking fundamentals also. Then you need to give for the 201, 101, none of the certificate you would be allocated with. When you have 101 and 201, you will be getting the CA, that is Certified Administrator. Once you have 101, 201 completed, you can go for the DNS, ASM, APM, LTM, Advanced LTM it is. Okay, whatever you wanted to go for, you can go for. Regarding the certification, our study will be covering not only 101, but 201 and major of the topic of 301 as well. Now, this is one of the big IP unit, which you can see the rear view, the front view, different, chassis base can be also there. There can be software base also, okay, hardware base also. So there are different devices available in the market for the big IP units. But again, it depends what is your requirement, what kind of throughput you require. Maybe what you were asking, Arun, that if you have two links and the throughput you need to check, and if throughput is okay for the particular hardware, then license part is not separate. License would be the same, okay? But yes, your device throughput should be taken into the consideration before applying any kind of backend servers over here. Okay, so we have talked about this slide. Let me give you an overview what is inside into the big IP system. Just understand, try to understand any device, whatever device you talk about, every device is having the base of the Linux or the Unix only. Okay. Similarly, it has also the base of the Linux. So operating system is the TMOS. Okay. Traffic management operating system we used to say, but the base is the Linux only. Okay. So just try to understand that on the top of the Linux, we are having the operating system named as TMOS. So on the basis of this, you can see when we are running, when we are going into the CLI, we have two modes available. When we run into the CLI, we have the bash mode, which is nothing but the Linux mode. Okay, if we need to run something in the Linux command, we need to check out some kind of directory, we need to locate some kind of files, we need to check some kind of syslogs, we will be moving to the bash mode or the Linux mode. What are those modes, how to use them? Don't worry, very early to talk about those things in today's session, but later on you guys will be having a very good hands-on for this kind of stuff. Then into the CLI, if you will run the command tmsh, it means through the CLI, what you are maintaining the TMOS mode. It means if you need to create some kind of objects, maybe pools, maybe pool members, maybe virtual IP, maybe nodes, whatever you want to create, maybe different stuff, you can create through the tmsh command. So this is your CLI. Then you can take the management of this particular device through the GUI also, any of the browser you are using. Through those browser over the management IP, you can access this device very easily. So it depends how you are using, okay, either through the GUI, either through the CLI, depends. Then as we are talking that it has the same operating system, either for any of the module you say, none of the module is using different operating system. Everyone is using the same operating system named as TMOS. Either you are using iRule, either you are using full proxy, whatever you are using, it means this is using your TMOS architecture only, or TMOS operating system, you can say. But the base is the Linux and Unix, as all of our devices. Either you talk about Cisco, either you talk about other firewalls, whatever company or vendor you talk, everyone is using Linux mainly. Okay, let me proceed further. Maybe that is the stuff we will be talking about later on. Lab setup is changed now. we will be talking about that later on. Okay, let us talk about the hardware. Maybe over this hardware, if you want to see, we have the processor, we have the SSL accelerator card. If you remember, I was talking about the SSL encryption and decryption. So you can see over the B, the point where the B is mentioned, that is nothing but your SSL. Oh, where is my pen? This is your SSL accelerator card. Then there is something in the C point over here. It is mentioned as AOM. Simply nothing, much, but different vendors have different capabilities. Okay, AOM here stand for always on management. Again, a separate subsystem that provides the light out management for your big IP, unit, in case if it is not available through your CLI, maybe through your GUI, then yes, this AOM will not never stop. Separate power for it, and you can go and you can check out that. Then your 8G CF card or maybe compact flash cards that are installed, to use the bit like your image you can put over here or bit like that. You can use those things also, but not required much. Whenever you are in the production environment, you will be able to get the management IP reachability through the CLI or through the GUI. 99% you don't require this kind of stuff. But yes, if it is non-responsive, there is a tag kind of stuff you are open through the F5. In that way, you need to have the management through the local at the data center. You can go and you can do bit like that also. Let me talk about the ports, okay, for the hardware panel. You can see we have the USB port, very typically used for external booting. Instead of your CD-ROM, you can use the USB stick. You have the management port, again for the outgoing management port. Console port, we are aware. Failover port, if you have the high availability kind of thing. You have Giganet ports, okay. You have the fan ports, LCD panel, the control panels. So these ports, when I am talking about, let me check if I have the ports detail over here. No. Okay. So if you will talk about the ports, the port numbering is something different. So if you see over here, maybe I don't know, you would be able to see or no. The numbering should be like that: 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, depending upon your slot. That in slot, if you have 4 ports, maybe 2.1, maybe 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, depending upon how many ports you have per slot. So that kind of numbering you would be able to see in case of your F5 unit. Okay, so bit like if you are running on the Cisco fast Ethernet 0x0, gig 0x0, maybe 10 gig, maybe 25 gig, maybe 100 gig. Those kind of things you have seen. But here it would be bit like 1.1, 2.1, 3.1, whatever. This kind of nomenclature you would be able to see when we will be checking these things into our classes. Okay, so these are your things. Now, here on this slide, you guys are able to trace one thing, that by default, when your device will come into a box and you are unboxing it, you have the by default IP of 192.168.1.245. Some people used to say when you put this 245 in the hex, it will be converted into F5. Okay, so some people used to say that okay, F5 is using such a number because when 245 is converting into the hex, it will be converted into F5 only. So by default, whenever you wanted to take the console of your device through the GUI, maybe if you have the manageability, you can put out the by default IP address of 192.168.1.245 for your big IP system. Again, for your big IQ, we will be talking about the big IQ. Maybe that is not the part of it, but again, for the management or maybe for the Viprion, if you have the by default IPs are something different. Those are 192.168.2.246. Okay, either for the Wipro and chassis, either for the big IQ. Now, very first time you need to modify the IPs, you need to modify or maybe change everything. You can make the change through the config command. So what you need to do, whenever your system will boot, you write down config. Let me show you, okay, so that everyone should be on the same page. If I can replicate in our lab, so let me just refresh it so that, yeah, it is refreshed. Okay, by default, the password is root and default, okay, of your device. But this was used earlier, so I changed the password. Maybe it should be netminion if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it is netminion and it is showing you license expired because earlier I used these devices. Okay, but yes, if you are over here and you are running the command config, hitting the enter, you can see the configuration utility will be open in front of you. And this configuration utility, you just press your, arrow keys, enter, bit like that, and you can use your device. You can configure your device as and when required. I just press Control C because I don't want to make changes into the IP address. I'm already using those IP address. I don't want to make any changes. So I just remove it. But you can see in the diagram, when you are writing down the config, a setup utility will get opened. It will ask for the IP address, give the IP address, whatever IP address you want to give, network mask, management root, confirm it, press yes, and your IP schema will be get changed as you are required into your device. Any doubts so far? Any questions so far? Ask me, otherwise we will be going to the next slides.
There is some PDF like what you provide for us, like last classes, ASM, how to set up the labs, the whole labs.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, when we can get that one so that we can prepare.
Initial workbook you will get, don't worry. Let me show
Okay.
you. Let me show you. If I have handy, yes, I have maybe, right, I have. Let me show you. Let me bring over here. Okay. So you can see we have the workbook for the initial sections where I am telling you what kind of IP schema you need to use. Okay. And what kind of address it has. Maybe it would be resembling with your ASM class also, because the initial boot up and the IP schema is bit like same. But you just go through this workbook. I would be sending this workbook once you will be enrolling and once your class would be started. Okay, and you just scroll this workbook, even though I would be giving the overview of this workbook later on. That is the part of our class. But if for the people who are very new for the netminion, for you guys, you can able to see that this kind of workbook you will be receiving, that you will be able to do the server configuration, the big IP configuration, each and every configuration, then what kind of licensing and provisioning we need to do. That kind of stuff is also here. We need to just scroll down through it. We need to just proceed up with this. And the same lab, what I am telling you, what I was showing you over here.
Actually, we have all the materials and the lab is ready for us. We need this one to proceed with the set up the lab.
Yes, you will get this workbook. What is your question, Mohammed?
Actually, what I told you, me and Zakaria, we have the labs and everything is with us. We need only the workbook to proceed and prepare for the lab.
Don't worry, don't worry. It will be sent to the group. Those who are in
Okay.
the group, it will be sent after this
Okay.
class. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you will get this. Okay. So that initial point I would be taking care. Don't worry. So that is your first point. Second point, as I was talking with you, that when you need to take the console, you can go through the GUI. Either you can go through the CLI. Again, the same thing as every device we need to take for. What you need to go, you just write down HTTPS, whatever your IP, that's it. And such kind of screen will appear in front of you. So maybe let me just quickly check one thing. And 10, 15, 10, 10, 10, 5, 1. So it should be reachable through my this box. 10, 10, 10.51. Okay, it is responding. So how it will be coming when your management and when your configuration is okay, guys? It should be reachable through your this particular box. I would be taking you how to do other configurations. Okay, don't worry. Other configuration I will be telling you later on, but I'm just showing you what kind of screen you will be having. So such kind of screen you will be having. Whatever the default password is admin, you can put, but here I have used NetMinion maybe. Yeah, NetMinion. So I am just using NetMinion. And here you go, Arun. Can you see the license?
Yes,
Because
sir.
this is a lab device, so by default it is 30 days of free license. Post that you need to relicensing, so it is showing those kind of message over here. Okay, so that is the stuff, but I would be doing the licensing in some time, don't worry. But before that I need to give you the overview about the theory, so that none of the person over here who is not able to understand the licensing part. Very important, licensing part is also important. Okay, so we talked about this, we talked about this. Now let us talk about these things. See, whenever your device is coming into the picture, you need to do the licensing. Okay, licensing will tell that, okay, what is the license of your device? Maybe same licensing what we are used to do for other of the devices. Second thing is provisioning. Provisioning means if into your license LTM can be provisioned, GTM can be provisioned, ASM can be provisioned, what device, what particular module you want to provision is need to be defined in the provisioning. Let us say in our classes, we will be only provision LTM. Don't provision some another module, just FYI, because if you are using some another module into this lab, in that case, resources would be consumed much, and those unavailability of the resources will hang out your lab. So do not, go for that kind of stuff. So when we will be provisioning, we will be provisioning only LTM for this particular lab. Okay. So once our device is up, we need to do the licensing, we need to do the provisioning. Here, these are the different things. We will be coming to these things later on. Okay. After maybe our licensing and provisioning. So let us go for the licensing first. For licensing, you guys need to go to the F5 website, public website. Let me show you. Let me show you over here. F5 trial license. Click over here. Click on this link, first link, F5 trials. You can see it is saying that, okay, you can have the trials. What kind of product you are looking for? So since I already told you, you want to use big IP, so you just click over here, get the free trial. Here it will say that, okay, if you wanted to get the free trials, I am providing you 30 days of free trials. Login over here, click on the login, whatever IP, whatever you have the email ID, whatever email ID you have, just log in with that email ID. And once you would be able to log in through your email ID, it will be asked that, okay, what is the purpose of this trial? Select any purpose. Maybe I am selecting, I want to evaluate the LB or the ADC, see, application delivery controller. I told you, right? ADC products. What is your job function? Whatever your function is, maybe I am saying that, okay, I am an architect, maybe, okay, I am an enterprise architect or engineer. Which trial would you like? So I am saying I want to have the trial for the big IP devices. So I would be selecting big IP. But of course, we have the virtual edition. So I am selecting VE. Very important, very important. It is asking how many licenses you want to have. From one email, you can generate these keys 3 times. And every time you can generate 3 keys. Getting this point? So select over here, select the 3. It is asking, okay, put the enters only of the black. I am entering Z, B, F, only the black. And click over here and one email will come to you. I'm not clicking because I have that email already. Okay. I would be showing you that email that will be having, some of the registration keys. Bit like this, you can see there are some keys. So there are some keys that will be, coming to you into your email ID. And you need to use these keys again into your lab later on. Similarly, if it is your production, you need to have these keys even in that case as well. So let me show you the next step. Give me a minute. So first step, I hope everyone is aware that we need to register ourselves over the F5. We need to download the software or the software we have, and we need to request for the key. Any questions so far?
Sir, we can install on virtual machine, right?
This is the virtual machine only, yes.
Okay.
And even if you are asking me that either I can set up this in my home lab or no, yes, you can set up in your home lab also. For
Okay.
that, you should be having the VMware workstation. And there, if you want, I can give you this kind of software. Else, it is free to use F5 over the F5 website. You can download it. Otherwise, I will provide you. You just go use it for your home lab as well.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Don't worry, don't. So this is your big IP first step to license your big IP products. Now let me proceed further. So this step I already told you, whatever your email ID, whatever your purpose, whatever your keys should be 3. Okay, select the 3 keys and then select, and after 30 minutes it will send you a bit like that. Okay, the email will be sent to your email ID within 30 minutes, bit like that. Okay, and within 30 minutes, maybe within 5 or 10 minutes maximum, you will be receiving an email from the F5 that okay, these are your keys as I showed you earlier. Let me show you again such kind of email you will be having that okay, 30 days trial is started and these are your keys. You need to select only one key at one time, which would be valid for 30 days. Now let me proceed further and try to understand this part very clearly. Although I would be showing the same part through the practical also, don't worry. But first try to understand it theoretically. Once you have the registration key. So very first part is registration key, which I told you earlier how to get the keys from F5. Second part, you need to generate something, some part of code name as dossier, which will be the combination of your keys, whatever key you have. Okay, let me tell you, maybe using the pen. It will be the combination of your key plus maybe your serial, maybe some of the specification of your device. So it will generate some code using the key, using this kind of stuff. It will be generating some kind of code. Okay, this code is named as dossier. Again, important question with respect to your interview, with respect to your production environment as well. So second point is create the dossier. Okay, let me show you. Click on the enter. Third point, that dossier file you need to manually bring up to the F5 license server, or maybe automatic also if your device has the internet connectivity. So first point, you are registering for the keys over the F5. Second, you need to put this over here into your device. I would be showing you, it will generate a code. That code is named as dossier. The third point is you need to pick out this dossier from your F5, from your big IP hardware or software to the F5 license server, which is nothing but a website. Okay. On that website, when you put this dossier, on the behalf of that dossier, a license will be generated. That license need to put back on your F5 device, and your device will be licensed. Any question? In the theory, is there any question, guys? So you need to put the license back and activate the license on your F5 box. Theoretical, any question? No? Let me just, show you the same thing over the device also. Don't worry, I am showing you the same thing over the device, but let me just quickly go through these steps again. Step 1, generate the dossier. Before generating the dossier onto the device, you need to put the registration key, whatever you received. Once you put it, click on next. The dossier will get, generated. This is again a code. You can, download this code from this button or copy and paste over this licensing server. And let me maybe show you in the pictorial form. Copy this, click on this particular license server. You will be navigating over maybe, maybe slides are little bit, up and down. So dossier, how will be created the dossier? When you put the registration key, click on the next, the dossier will create. And then you need to put that dossier over here, over the licensing server. Click next, okay. And one of the license will get created. You can see this is the license. Download it, or maybe copy and paste over here. Click on next, and your device will be licensed. Then the provisioning will start. I will be doing the provisioning later on, but first let me show you the same steps over here into my device. I'm just clicking on reactivate. For you guys, it would not be reactivate, but it would be something different. So this was my base registration key earlier, which I was using. But now I need to put the new one, this one. Maybe let me copy it. Give me a minute, guys. FVERR, then KVNKX, and then QWUUT, then HJXZE, then IOEUAJJ. So this is my key, okay, which I received from the F5. Now you can see the activation method is automatic. If my device is having the internet connectivity, but it does not have, I am clicking on manual. That no, I will be proceeding up with manual. So I put my registration key, clicking on the next. Can you see it created the dossier automatically? Are you able to see it? This is known as dossier. You can download it. You just click on the download, click over that download, and this is your dossier file. Maybe if you want to copy and paste, click over here, select Control A, Control C, and if you wanted to go for the F5 license server, click on this link. If you click on the link, a new website will open. Of course, your management PC has the internet connectivity. So this is opening your internet facing website, and what it is saying, enter your dossier. Click over here, put Control V. Okay, let me just go down. Either you can upload the file also, click on the next, and you can see it will ask for EULA, that is end user legal agreement, whatever agreement you have. No choice, you need to accept it. Okay, click I have read and accept it. Click on next, and the license will be generated in front of you guys. Just a minute, it is, you can see it is just taking some time. Let it take some time, and you can see there is a license. You can download this license, but obvious for your reference, like I just downloaded it now. But if you scroll it down, you can see there are a lot of information of your device, because in the dossier, whatever your device information was picked, it generated the I'm sorry, it generated the license on the behalf of that. Can you see? Even the registration key, what I put, let me show you. This was the key, right? So you can see even the registration key is there. What is the platform ID? What is the license version? What is the start date? What is the end date? It is having each and everything. Can you see the dossier file? It has the dossier file. If you just scroll down, it has each and every information, including what kind of modules it need to be go through. So again, I don't want to go for more and more detail over here. I will just press Control C. In the license, I am pressing Control V, and maybe let me just cross this, and I am clicking on Next. And this is the option. Maybe my F5 should be receiving it. Okay, you can see my F5. This product is just saying me wait for some time, configuration is reloading, or maybe getting changed, or maybe updated. So it will take some time, but my device will be re-licensed. Any questions so far, guys? Ask me. If you feel like that it is so much for today, maybe we can stop here also. If no, maybe let me complete then. Okay, maybe let me complete 2 hours then. So any questions so far? First thing first.
Sir, I just wanted to ask you, which we have generated 3 keys. So anyone we can use in the license, right?
Yes, you can use. For 30 days, you can use any. I just use one of them. Okay.
Okay.
So you can use any. So you can see the license date is today's. And when it will be getting expired? On October 18. Okay. Might probably till then our batch will be get completed. So it is saying that yes, it would be expiring on 18th, bit like that. So each and every information it has included into it. If you will click on the next, it will say, it will go to the next option. This is known as resource provisioning. Before going to that device directly, let me show you over the PPT, so that on the slide you guys able to understand. And then very simple, it is very simple things these are. But let me just give you the overview about these things. Okay, regarding the license, any other question, guys? Especially Arun, you have any question?
Yes. So in this F5 LTM module, you would be teaching us the CLI, the TMS cell, and how to take the TCP dump and all those, some troubleshooting type.
Yes, why not? Why not?
Because
That is
the main.
That is the part of your LTM. Yes,
Yes.
you would be learning those things. Very basic things these are. Okay.
Yes,
And whatever experience I have for your information, guys, I would be having, I am not remembering correctly, but maybe 15 to 18 years of experience. So whatever experience I have on the packet level, bit level, whatever you wanted to go in more depth, I can go in the more depth. But whatever you are asking, Arun, that is the part of this syllabus. Pretty much, yes. Answer is yes. Big yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. So what I was talking about, okay, regarding your license, is there any question, Arun?
No, regarding license.
It is clear to you, yeah? Okay. Now let us come to the provisioning part. So regarding provisioning, as I was telling you guys, provisioning means which module you want to provision. That is known as provisioning. Bit like if you want to provision maybe GTM, there are couple of the options over here. If I will be scrolling down, you can see there are a couple of options available. Maybe let me see if it should be in my slide. I would be explaining from you there. Okay, yeah, we have it. The options are, the very first option, you can see none. Maybe let us start with the none. What does none mean? None means I don't want to provision that particular module. That means none. Secondly, let us go to the dedicated. What means the dedicated? Dedicated means all of the resources is dedicated to only one module. Either it is LTM, either it is GTM, either it is ASM, APM, whatever module you say, you are dedicatedly provisioning all of the resource, CPU, memory, whatever allocation to that dedicated module only. So these are the two options you have understand. Third option, minimum. Minimum means you are squeezing the resources. You are squeezing the resources very much, very highly. You are squeezing the resources, okay, and you are giving as minimum as possible. But the very fourth one is the nominal. That means it is coming in between your dedicated and minimum, okay, that you are giving such the resources that your module can work in a efficient manner without any hustle and bustle. So always remember, we will be using nominal in our scenarios. Any question? So again, you can read about these things, what is dedicated, minimum, none, and all of those stuff. But I have already explained you guys. So those are the things. Now let me just go on to our lab. And you can see in the LTM, this is nominal. Rest of the modules are licensed. ASM is licensed. If I will click over here, I will click on nominal and submit. ASM will also activate it. But since, as I told you in my lab, I didn't give you so much of the resources that you can run any other module, do not run it. Okay, just select the LTM for the module what we are over here, for the module whatever my lab is prepared. So you used the LTM, select it as nominal. You can select the dedicated also, minimal also. If you unselect it, it will be none. Can you see? It is none. But if you select it, select as nominal, it means you are selecting and submitting it as the LTM. So your LTM will be get selected. Okay, because it is already selected. So it is not asking anything. Let me go to the LTM. I don't have anything. Okay, that is good. Let me go to the node and self IPs maybe. No self IP. Okay, what about VLAN? No VLAN. That is very good. That is very good. So I have only the management IP. So when I will be starting out these classes, I would be starting from 0, creating the VLAN, creating the static IP, creating each and everything, whatever we need to go for each and every device. We will be starting it from the 0. Okay, only the management is there, but that is very basic. I will go through the workbook when we need to go. Okay, let me proceed further. Only couple of the slides are there. Do you want me to continue? If none of you have any problem, let me go through these slides also. Anybody has any issue, or should I proceed?
Sir, we have 3 hours class today or 2 hours?
We have 2 hours class today, but from
Hmm.
tomorrow it would be 3 hours.
Okay, for me, I think we can stop today and continue tomorrow. I
Okay.
don't know what about other guys.
Okay. What about other guys' options?
It's okay for me.
It's okay for today. Okay, maybe the very first class we need to pick up the speed, later on. It's all right. So what we can do is we can stop for today. Okay. For your information, the people who are new, okay, let me tell you, go to the netminion.net. Whatever course you want to search for, you can search, including CCI or whatever course. You just click on the LTM because we are learning about the LTM. Go down. Okay. You can read about this stuff also. It is important. But if you want to download the syllabus, click on download now. Okay. And it will start the download. And when you open, you can see a file will get open in front of you. You can go through the syllabus. Okay. What the syllabus, maybe it's not a hard and fast rule that it is, only for this, but yes, you can just have a fair idea that what we are covering. One thing. Okay. Second thing, as I told you, whatever we are teaching, we are recording each and every class, including this class also. Okay, it is also recorded. So whatever class we are teaching, we are giving you those classes so that you can refresh your knowledge at any point of time during your lifetime. There should not be any issue. You will be getting the labs, you will be getting the maybe whatever online, training requires lot of material, lot of study material and other things. So good to wrap up for today. Any other question from anyone? Any technical question, non-technical question, whatever question you have, you can ask. Joy is also here. She can also help you out. If you have any question, please go ahead.
Just please share with us the lab steps so we can.
You will get that.
Thank you, sir.